All right, guys, back again with another YouTube video. My name is Cameron Mitchell. I am the owner of ARKIVES Jacks here in Jacksonville, Florida. I know the first couple videos that we put out were more a vlog, kind of behind the scenes type of thing. In this video, I wanted to do something a little bit different. I wanted to be more informative within the process of opening ARKIVES, and I wanted to give the store some time to marinate and kind of see really where we're at and how well we could really do with the processes that we put in place before I come on here and obviously explain those processes. I'm not going to sit here and explain something to you guys that doesn't work, but our methods so far and what we put into making this successful business have proof in the pudding so far. Since opening, I think we've been open 4 months. We have over 200K in sales, vintage sneakers, some streetwear, in a 4-month period. It's definitely something to be working on and definitely something that shows promise. But I'm here today to explain more into detail what actually goes into running and opening a sneaker store, a vintage store / boutique. Now, usually with these type of videos, you'll have somebody sit here and tell you, yeah, you just get a space, you pay your rent, and you get inventory in, but there's a lot more that goes into opening a store than that. So I will hop right into it. If you could, show us some love, man. I mean, we're brand new to YouTube, so any subscribers, any likes, any comments, any type of engagement on this video could really go a long way, because I am gonna drop some gems here that I think, if you are interested in opening a store, could help you in the long haul. Now, when we went about finding our location, we wanted to make sure that the location spoke to the demographic that we were going after. Obviously, owning a vintage clothing and a sneaker boutique, you're gonna go after a younger demographic. You're gonna have a more diverse range of people coming into your store. So we focused on a location that speaks to that. Our location is central in Jacksonville, close to the beach, but not too far away from everything else. So we wanted it to be in a metro area, but also be able to draw all crowds of people and not be a hassle to find, and where no one's driving 20, 30 plus minutes to get to our store. So we're central in Jacksonville. Everything is about 15, 20 minutes away. So it's easy to access and it's in a good prime location. Now, after you find that location that you think is in a good spot in which you can get good, consistent, organic traffic that speaks to your demographic, then you want to go ahead and hash out terms on your lease. Now, for our space alone, because it is in more of a prevalent location, a high traffic location, I mean, the highway that we are on is literally the busiest street in Jacksonville. So we get about 160,000 cars pass us on a day-to-day basis, and that is probably why our rent is as high as it is. Now, you can find places that are gonna be lower rent, but you're not gonna be able to get the traffic that you may be looking for. So that traffic may come from marketing and campaigns on socials. So our lease for our building, our rent is about $4,200 a month. That's just the lease. That's the agreement on the lease. Now, it's not as simple as just having a lease, having inventory, putting it in, and you're good to go. There's other things that go into it. You have to calculate in utilities, the lights, water, AC, electric, everything. That for us is around $200 to $250 a month. I mean, you got to fill a 1,300 square foot building with AC pretty consistently in Jacksonville, Florida, where it's hot. So that's around $200, $250. You have insurance. You're gonna need insurance if you're carrying top-notch, high-quality goods that are really sought after. Liability insurance is definitely a need. Yes, so most vintage stores are kind of have thrift store vibes, so I wanted to keep it more of a simplistic boutique. Like, you walk into a Kith, you walk into a Supreme, you walk into a Somewhere, you know, it's more clean-cut, open space, industrial type vibe that is very simplistic. I wanted the focus to be more on the clothes and the shoes rather than what's going on the walls or the floors or everything. So we made it clean cut, but I mean, was still pretty pricey in a sense. The build out that can be costly as well. You have to get a POS system. A POS system is a point of sale, basically your register that tracks all your sales. You can either do on a monthly basis or you can pay straight up. We use Square, which I highly recommend. You pay a flat fee for the initial setup, and then after that, I think they take 2.6% out on each transaction. I think we did upwards of 50K, and about 3,000 of that went to Square fees and credit card fees, transaction fees alone. So be prepared for that as well. Make sure you have a good POS system that matches the volume that you're putting in and you are putting out. Next thing within opening a store, if you're gonna open a store, you obviously need inventory. That is the most important ingredient to opening a store, and you need enough inventory to fill out your store. With me, when I finally came to the conclusion that I wanted to pull the trigger and open a store, I started setting aside better pieces right from the jump. I think from the opening of the store, we separate our inventory because the popular team here in Jacksonville is obviously the Jaguars. So I saved up about 100 pieces for the Jaguars drop. I think I had about 200 vintage tees on our t-shirt rack, and then like I would say probably 60 jackets, 60 sweatshirts, 60 pair of pants, all just to open. Accumulating inventory and good inventory, especially for a grand opening. If you wanna make a statement, you kinda wanna introduce yourself to whatever demographic you are in, I think you need to come hard and you need to really bring inventory that is gonna kind of like wow people in a sense. So we sourced a lot of good pieces for about a month period while we were building out the store. Inventory is key. Now, being buy, sell, trade, luckily in these first couple months, we get a fresh source of inventory in on a consistent basis. So I would highly, highly, highly recommend always having funds on hand, cash, Venmo, Cash App. Always make sure that's ready because you never know who will walk into your doors with a potential steal. Being buy, sell, trade has been huge for us in getting our hands on a lot of pieces. And I mean, with our inventory too, we have multiple sources of getting inventory. Within our vintage community, there's a lot of people that know me and know what I look for. So luckily, all of my homies kind of hold me down in that regard. If I ever need bundles or I need bulk, they always look out for me. And then we also have a rag house in which we can go buy bulk from as well. Now those are appointment based, so we have to plan strategically when it comes to putting out all of that inventory. We're not gonna sit there and buy 300 pounds of clothes and then put it out all at once. We want that to last us a month before our next rag appointment. So inventory is huge. Make sure that you have enough to fill out your store and good quality pieces that make a statement for your store when you initially plan on opening. Another thing with the inventory, I mean, the money comes and goes. It ebbs and flows. You're gonna have to spend money to make money in this industry. So that's why I always say keep cash on hand, keep money in your physical building. I mean, after the opening night, I mean, we made, for our grand opening, I think we made like 25K. We ended up spending about 15K of that over the next week just to fill the racks again because we sold out of so much stuff. So it's a revolving door. Always try to keep your business account healthy, but don't be scared to get new inventory in because it will move if it speaks to your demographic. Okay, now the other side of the inventory. So I was doing vintage. I was selling vintage for almost 4 years before I opened my store. So I was very, very familiar with the vintage game. Now, the sneakers were a whole different ballgame. I've always been a sneakerhead, but I wasn't into the reselling side of sneakers. That was a brand new learning curve for me, and especially transitioning into a store and how it fit into our store aesthetic. Opening a vintage clothing store, I feel the sneakers go hand in hand with the vintage clothing. I mean, you come in here, you find a good t-shirt, you maybe might want some shoes to match it, or the demographic that could be interested in vintage clothes will also be interested in the hype sneakers. So I wanted to get sneakers in here, and I never had any, I never dealt with sneakers, I never had any experience with sneakers. So what I did, and I would highly recommend if you are in the same boat as me, as someone that never really dealt in the sneaker game, reach out to the most popular local vendors. Consignment is basically, if you're not familiar, they put their inventory in your store for a fee or a percentage of their sales totals. So we put a local seller in our store, 904 Hype, shout out my boy, in our store on consignment. And we originally started, I think we had six 7-foot shelves to originally start with. I think like 50 to 70 pairs. And I mean, all of the things that you can imagine, Dunks, Yeezys, J's, everything, all on consignment. And now what that does, you don't have to pay out of pocket for these sneakers, but still be able to make money on sneakers. Yes, you're not going to be able to make the dividends that you would if you actually outright own the sneakers, but it saved us a lot of overhead from the jump to be able to still have sneakers in our store and still make a profit off of them. Now, 4 months in, he's moving so many sneakers, the percentage that he's moving and that we're getting from him moving so many sneakers, we're able to take that and invest it right into our own sneakers. So now we have about, I don't know, 50 to 60 pairs up with his 90 to 100 pairs. So we started with 50, 70 pairs. We're now probably up close to 200, 250 pairs in store, all from starting from a consignment vendor locally here in Jacksonville. One thing that I will kind of warn you guys about having a consignor in your store, especially with the sneakers, is that all the inventory needs to be accounted for. Everything needs to be sharp. You need to know what's in your system, what's in your inventory, what's going in and what's going out, because there have been instances within our first 4 months in which sneakers are lost, sneakers are not accounted for, and then that comes out of my pocket to cover that for the consignor. So always make sure you're on top of your inventory. We have a huge spreadsheet, and every time that our consignor brings something into the store, he is required to put it in our POS system so that we know that it is there and that is accounted for here in our store at Archive. As far as an agreement with the consignors, we made it pretty clear cut right from the jump of what we were looking for and what percentage we were looking for. Make sure you come to a mutual agreement on whatever percentages, whatever take you get, whatever cut you get. Make sure there is written agreements that state whatever your cut is of that specific shoe or that product. So for us personally, because we felt that our consignor was helping us so much, pretty much open the store and kind of get this thing up and running off the ground, 10% cut was perfectly fine. We take 10% off all his sales. He comes in, checks in once a week, and he gets his payout and we get our cut. It's as simple as that. But that makes sure that is solidified and stapled within an agreement within you and your consignor if you do go that route. Another important piece in starting this and kind of getting this going is official documentation. LLC, I think LLC and like what your DBA is, what you're doing business as, is huge. So for us, for me personally, my LLC isn't the same name as my store. And that because if we do open multiple locations, I can umbrella that out of my own LLC, and the archives can be under the Cam's Vintage LLC. So that goes hand in hand with operation agreements. Now, operation agreements that we have, because we needed investors to open this, the operation agreement is basically an agreement that states percentages of cuts within the company, what their what their title and what they are looking to get from the store, what their investment is, and their cut. The LLC, the one thing that an LLC does, and that is huge, is supplies your business with an EIN number, a tax identification number for your business. This comes back full circle, comes tax season. Do not cut any corners when it comes to taxes. I have a business partner, my brother Keegan, who handles all of our back end stuff. He does all of our QuickBooks, he does all of our marketing. He is the back end guru. He handles all of that. But with saying that, he's been on top of that. He knows what he's doing in regards to taxes and QuickBooks. So all of our things are in order when it comes that time of the year. We take that EIN, we plug it in, we get our financial statements, and we're good. We're not ducking or dodging the government by any means. We wanted this to be clean slate as possible, especially if we do have investors on an operation agreement. People may ask, how did I go about getting investors? Where did I go to get money to open my business? I went to friends and family first. Those are the people that believe in me most, but I came correct when I did so. Me and my business partner Keegan sat down for a 3-week period and we drew up a 27-page business plan that mapped out everything. Our design that we're going for, our projections on money and what we feel like we can make in here at this specific location, our sources of getting inventory and how we can expand that inventory source, and my previous sales from me selling clothes online and the projections that I could have with selling in an actual physical location. So we came correct with a very, very detailed business plan before we asked anybody for any type of money. I don't want you guys to think that I was just handed $40K to go out on my vintage and sneaker venture. No, I came correct. Me and my business partner Keegan came correct with a 26-page in-depth report of what our business model and plan looked like. So if you are seeking outside money to help with this endeavor, make sure you have a very, very detailed plan. And I'm sure if you guys have questions or leave comments or anything, we can go and make a video about what was included in our business plan to kind of help you guys out as well. Another thing that goes into opening a business that a lot of people don't account for, and I think is a huge vital part of really getting a brand new small business off the ground, is marketing. Marketing campaigns, marketing plans, and having a feel for where you see your business going from a marketing standpoint. For us personally, from our investment money, we had money set aside that we knew we were going to put into marketing to get this thing off. What we did, instead of taking our $5,000 marketing budget and putting it towards Google ads or putting it towards Instagram ads, where you're not 100% guaranteed to get organic traffic from. I mean, you know, if you've done Instagram ads before, you'll get bot accounts and you'll get pushed the wrong people that don't speak to what you're trying to do. So what we did, we went to the #1 marketing agency here in Jacksonville that has the most organic traffic, that people that speak to our demographic and our market pay attention to, and we ran a marketing campaign through them. They announced our grand opening. We've done events through them, all promotion through them, and I mean, it's definitely worked out in the long haul. I mean, from the start of opening, we started at 2,600 followers on Instagram to now, within a 4-month span, we are at almost 9,000 followers in a 4-month span. And I would put a lot of that on them and the way they have marketed us and kind of put us out to the community of Jacksonville. I mean, at our grand opening alone, we probably had about 1,000 to 1,500 people in and out on a one night, made $25K in sales, and I would speak that to their marketing efforts to kind of get our name out there. So marketing is huge. Instagram, I mean, we blasted, before we even started up, we kind of build the hype on Instagram, kind of giving people a sneak peek of what to expect, what items they're gonna see in store, what we specialize in, a little behind the scenes of building the store. That way there's some hype and anticipation for when you actually open the door. So Instagram is huge. I mean, Instagram's free. If you don't have a $5,000 budget to work with, Instagram is your best bet. Getting it in front of the right people on Instagram and being unique and creative with your content is key as well. No one likes a rinse and repeat method. Everyone wants to see something new and organic. So be organic with that. But marketing is a huge, huge step in getting your name out there. So make sure you're calculated and you do that the right way as well. Now this leads me into my next point, which is content creation as a whole. We had a very clear, vivid vision of how we wanted to portray our store and how we wanted to be unique in the way that we gave content to the world. You have to understand, as a small business, especially a clothing boutique, a sneaker boutique, that content is the bridge between you and your customers. That bridge needs to be unique, organic, clean as possible, because that, for the people that can't come into your store, that is how they view you as a brand, as the ARKIVES brand or whatever your brand may be. So content is absolutely key. The digital landscape now in today's age is made to push content. Specifically, research on what you can do to push your brand out on each platform, whether it's TikTok, whether it's Instagram, Twitter, I mean, whatever it is. Make sure you're doing research on each algorithm, on each platform, to know what is going to speak to that bridge for your customers, for your followers, whatever. I mean, for us, IG has been huge for us, and we speak to the IG algorithm when it comes to Instagram Reels. We pump out Reels like no other because we know that that's what's going to push traffic to our site, our page, everything. So just make sure you're educated within your content creation. Make sure you're organic and you're original within your content creation, because in today's day and age, content is absolutely king. It is king. I mean, we just invested like a month ago in a $2,000 camera to be able to make sure that our reels are higher quality, that we can push out YouTube videos on a consistent basis, because we know that there's a bridge there that needs to be filled between us and our potential customers. So content is king. The last thing that I want to touch on that I feel is important when opening a store is being involved with the community around you. For us, that's Jacksonville, Florida. We try to get involved with all of the creatives, all of the local small businesses that are trying to do the exact same thing we are. We try to get involved in our community across the board. I mean, even for our grand opening, we had 6 small businesses in here with us introducing ARKIVES to the world. So being a part of the community, getting that name recognition within your community is huge. We've done, I think we've probably done 6 or 7 pop-ups since we've opened. I mean, we just did Florida, Georgia pop-up last weekend where we set up a tent right outside of a Sigma Chi frat party and did 1,100 in sales, while also having about, I don't know, I'd say 6,000-7,000 people see that name ARKIVES on the banner. So it's the name recognition, it's getting your face out there, kind of putting a face to a brand, but get involved with your communities, because the more you get your name out there, the more business opportunities you will have coming your way. So being a staple in your community as a sneaker vintage store is huge, because if anybody ever needs sneakers or vintage, you know where they're gonna come if they already have that name recognition. So get involved with your community, get your name out there, do pop-up events, see what your community has to offer when it comes to what you're trying to do. Now, to wrap this up, I mean, there's obviously, we've touched on a lot within this video, but I think there's 5 main things that you really need to be solidified in before you go ahead and open a store. One is a marketing plan, a marketing strategy, a business plan, inventory, community outreach program, and obviously able to find a space that suits your demographic. I think those are the 5 main things that you need to focus on. That's where we put all of our time, our effort, and our money into it. I know this was kind of a lot, but this is really only an overview of what really went into it. I just wanted to hit some quick points of what we focused on. I mean, within a 2-month period from knowing that we were going to open a store to actually opening a store, we probably spent about $40,000 to get this up and running and off the ground. So be prepared to spend a good chunk of change to really make it what it is. Now, I'm not saying you have to spend $40K to open a shop by any means, but we wanted to do it our way. We wanted to do it very officially. We wanted it to be top of the line, top tier, so that was our budget, and that's what we did. We spent about $40K. I'm sure you can get away with less, but that's what we did. And I wanted to try to do something different with you guys here to kind of give you guys some insight on what really went in financially and marketing and business plan wise when it came to opening this store. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope this was helpful for you guys. Any comments, any likes, any subscribes on this video would mean a shit ton to us, a lot to us. Any support in general would mean a lot. But I appreciate your time. If you got any questions, leave it in the comments and we'll catch you guys on the next video.